Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the response logbook, which is very exciting because I haven't done this in a very long time, because I haven't had an email to do it with in a very long time. I'm currently very excited to be working on this channel and the shorts channel and maybe even a bit of unoriginal storage, as well as some shorts on the main channel while I'm overseas, because I can't work on the main videos. I can't really create videos out of no raw footage, which is what I have while I'm here overseas. So it has to be kind of new stuff, hence the format shift for Off the Latch, and also hence the fact that I can only really make YouTube shorts for the main channel, some stuff for the clips channel and for unoriginal storage. But I'm kind of excited. It forces you into a little creative box where you have to really work with the materials you have. And the materials I have are a shitty laptop and a pirated Sony Vegas 15 with none of the plugins I usually have. So we're going to see how this goes. But even on Off the Latch, you might notice the slight decrease in editing quality, and I hope you can bear with that. But without further ado, let's get into this question. What is your understanding of toxic positivity, and do you have any personal experiences with people who are toxically positive? What advice can you give to people with the proclivity to be toxically positive, and for people who deal with the toxicity? Jesus, bit of a tongue twister. Thanks, Mr. Latch. I'm not even going to comment on the last part. Well, toxic positivity for me, actually, in the last couple of months has been something I've been battling with personally, because I worked very hard to get where I am. I worked very hard to crawl myself out of the, I would say, mental hole I was in at the end of 2021, and 2022 was quite liberating in the sense that I got to travel a lot. I got to be very open without any responsibilities for the first time since I had gone to school, but yet I still kind of maintained this, I think pretty unbeknownst to me, I still kind of maintained this pessimistic worldview, which I don't think was helping me or anyone close to me at all. Luckily, I met somebody, as the story usually goes, and she changed how I viewed the world. And I know that sounds probably pretty cheesy, pretty cliche, but I've been sitting here fumbling my thumbs trying to figure out a different way to say that, and there aren't really a lot that don't sound just as cringe. But nonetheless, I gained a pretty optimistic worldview from being with her for the time we spent together, and one thing led to another. People move across the planet, people break apart, because despite how many incredibly positive things there may be about a person or two people, sometimes they aren't at the specific time in their life where they're meant to stay together forever, or even for an incredibly long period of time, years and years. People are meant to come in and out of your life at the times they're meant to. And I know this is kind of veering off of the question, but the reason I think this is a good build-up to my answer is because it really wasn't the easiest thing in the world for me to get out of that mindset that I'd had my whole life pretty much, but specifically get out of that habit of falling into that mental hole that I had near the end of 2021, my last year of high school. And because I so desperately wanted to avoid that, I think, especially since this person that I mentioned had left, I only had myself to rely on to bring that positivity into my life. And I think the mistake I made was thinking that I have to be in that good space, all the time. And I have to not be able to talk to other people about how I'm in a bad space, because that'll make them in a bad space, and nobody likes those kinds of people. It's scary thinking that your friends aren't going to want to speak to you if, quote unquote, all you speak about is how bad of a time you're having, even if that isn't the case, even if it's just your honest expression of your feelings. It can feel like you're burdening people with that. And without knowing it, I think I've developed quite a bad habit of this toxic positivity for myself. Of course, when other people are able to express themselves that way, I try and be, very open and very helpful with it, just because I wish I could, do that. And I realize when I watch people who are in that state and express it, that, they express it when the time is right, no one gives a shit, in the sense that no one really sees it as them bringing everybody down, you know. It doesn't really work like that, despite the fact that I feel like it might. For me, it's this sort of hypocrisy that I need to constantly be in this good space so everyone thinks Stuart and then thinks, wow, he really picked himself up and he fucking worked on himself and now he's in a good space, a better space for it. But I think the truth is that it doesn't matter how good of a space you're going to be in. A good space isn't defined by how good you're feeling. A good space is defined by how well you can deal with your feelings, positive or negative. And obviously toxic positivity is this need to see every terrible situation and just say, look on the bright side. But I think these things, these wonderful concepts, like trying to take honest positivity out of a situation that otherwise looks very gruesome, shouldn't be mistaken with the idea that everything has a positive spin to it that is more important than the thing that happened. You know, yeah, there is a fucking silver lining to everything, but that doesn't change the fact that the cloud is fucking enormous. And the cloud needs to be dealt with more importantly than that silver lining. But if it keeps you going from the day to day, sure, think about the silver lining, but don't burden other people with that same thought process, you know? Because it makes them feel like they can't express the bigger problem. And you need to be able to deal with the entire baggage, not just the thin outline that people with toxic positivity think is more important. So I would say to people with toxic positivity, even people such as myself who is somewhat directed at themselves, just make sure you're not avoiding the actual problems and feelings that a big part of your mind is experiencing. And for the people who have to deal with that toxicity, just make sure you remember that despite whatever somebody with toxic positivity might say about how you must always look on the bright side and you must always see the positive spin to things, those negative feelings and those negative thought processes should not be a burden to your friends. And if you feel like they're coming across like that, then you either need to have a serious conversation with them or fucking newsflash, they ain't very good friends. So in short, to those people dealing with it, don't let the toxicity prevent you from experiencing what should be your truest and most important emotions, even if they are negative. Deal with them in the way that is healthiest and most beneficial to you. And if you're a mature and intelligent person, you'll know what is best for you. So while I'm imagining that you probably thought my answer to the first part with, do you have any personal experiences with people who are positively toxic, would be from an external point of view, it is actually my most experience with it is from myself. And I think talking through this for this video has actually been quite helpful. So I'm really happy you sent this email through, and for anyone else who would like to send through a comment or thought, the proverbial door is as always off the latch for you to email or comment down below your thoughts, related or unrelated to this video.